A group of young disabled people from the Midlands have started a campaign highlighting a growing problem known as mate crime. It involves making friends with a vulnerable person in order to take advantage of them. The number of cases here in the Midlands is growing, and now charities are encouraging people to share their knowledge and experiences.
The term mate crime is new, but the hate crime which it's a part of has been around for a long time and is a big issue. It can be quite subtle, and it's very hard to pick up on a friend that would use you like that.
There's a lot of vulnerable people, but they're not aware of mate crime, so they just go along with it and think everyone's their friend.
Well, Jacqueline Bell and Rod Landman work for ARC UK. That's an organisation offering support, training and information to people with learning disabilities. They join us in the studio now. This sounds a particularly distasteful crime. How common is it?
It is one of the cruelest crimes, really. It's very it's one of the things that you will find is that there have been one or two every year now for the last few years, really quite high-profile cases. But in terms of how common it is, one of the defining features of this is that we don't know. Actually, it's not reported. It's one of the crimes that's most likely going to be unreported. So we don't actually have the evidence. We don't have the statistics that we need to be able to tell you that.
Now, you mentioned high-profile cases. The most high-profile case we had in the Midlands was that of Gemma Hayter, and it was a very sad story. She had learning disabilities. In terms of awareness, what were the implications of cases like this, and indeed others like it?
Well, I think the thing about the Gemma Hayter case is it was a very typical example of one of the high-profile mate crime murders. But I think the other issue, we mustn't get too strung out, I think, with the high-profile murders. You know, it's actually kind of the everyday stuff that's happening to people that we think is every bit as important. And we're getting from our members, you know, if I was to talk to any one of our members today, they would get the reel of 5 or 6 stories of an everyday mate crime that's happening to their service users. A very typical example, I was speaking to a group of people with Asperger's syndrome quite recently, and one of them told me about what they call their Tuesday friends. Tuesday being the day that their benefits get paid, so on a Tuesday this group of people come round, they help them to the cash point, they help them to the pub, they help them to spend all their money, and then they don't see them again for another week. And that kind of low-level financial abuse, we think, is happening to people with learning disabilities up and down the country every day.
And on the increase, is it?
Extremely difficult to say. I think, as Jackie said, yeah, without the statistics that there are, you know, we have an unofficial police estimate that 98% of learning disability hate crime goes unreported. Our contention would be that learning disability mate crime is even more unreported than that. So it's actually very, very difficult to kind of build a case for funding and so on. So what we're aware of from our members is that, you know, nobody's surprised by that 98% figure.
And just very quickly, what needs to be done then to help this situation? How do you prevent mate crime?
Well, one of the things that we've talked about is the evidence, because it's about raising awareness. Our campaign across the country, UK-wide, is to try and raise awareness. And that's not just about working with people who have a learning disability to make them aware, because often they won't report it because they don't want to lose friends. We all want friends, we all want a social life. If one of the risks of telling someone that something's going on is that you lose your friends or you suffer consequences as a result of telling on people, then that's something that people don't want to do. So what we've got to do is encourage people to be able to report it, to be able to tell someone. But often once they do tell someone, it often stops at that first point of letting someone know. So the family member maybe not take it any further, the support worker might not take it any further, and we need to make sure that it's reported to the police.
Okay, it's great advice.
I think it's also a really important issue is that people visit our website. There's lots of free resources and information for people wanting to know more about mate crime on our website. If people want to get in touch again, use that method, the ARC website.
Okay, good advice. Thank you both, Jacqueline Bell and also Rod Landman. Thank you for joining us.